Hello, everybody, and welcome to Worldsmithing, where we take our ideas, or the audience's ideas, and worldsmith them. I'm Cody.
Yeah. And I'm Joe.
And do you hear that off in the distance? The hammering and the pencils hitting the paper, and people at drafting tables scratching their heads. Do you hear all that?
Nope.
Okay, well, do you see it?
Well, it's because I've been so busy hammering away at this world that like my ears are ringing from all of the world.
All of the world ringing. The world ringing from the worldsmithing.
Yep.
That's. This isn't a thing. I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I like it.
This is our brand of bits.
Hey, hey, anything cool and nerdy you've been up to, my friend?
I mean, yeah, sort of. I mean, we talked about them in the other episodes because of the way these things come out. It's gonna be a little wonky. But yeah, I mean, just general stuff. I've been playing games to pass the time. I've been playing a lot of Persona 5 on stream. Now that my internet's finally be able to handle the streaming again, because it took a huge nosedive, cut like 3 or 4 weeks back. So now I'm trying to stream 2 times a week, or at least definitely once a week, but then trying to fit in one over the weekend. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna keep playing Persona 5, but like I'm also jonesing for some other games too, you know what I mean?
Those Personas.
Yeah. Persona 5 might be my cat, like it is Pokemon and Kingdom Hearts and Inception and like Hot Topic all mixed into this very awesome like anime stylized experience.
That sounds like a lot.
It's a lot. But it kind of plays out like Pokemon, where like you have these things called personas, which are these like, you know, these things in just throughout mythology and throughout the history of the world that like fight for you as you're this kind of rebellious youth trying to get back at the oppressive adult society. And you basically travel through the cognitive world of people's, you know, inner desires and like basically fight other shadows and things like it's wild. But I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's super anime, and that's like my jam. So yeah, it's been fun. Cool. What about you?
I've been playing Pokemon a little bit more frequently.
Sword and Shield?
Yeah. I beat the like what's it called? Like the tournament cup game portion. And then I got so pissed off at those 2 shit brothers.
Oh, the Sword and Shield bros?
Yeah.
And the fact that one of them has a literal wiener head.
Swordbert, I believe
Swordbert has the floppiest sword haircut. It's not a good look.
Yeah, and so I was kind of bummed because like I was excited to like, you know, pull out some of the Pokemon that I had been like sadly neglecting. And just been like, all right, like let's get you all big and strong for mom. And then they were like, no, you have to go and fight like Dynamax Pokemon. I was like, and so I pulled, and it was like not necessarily in a bad way, but I was like, all right, my 5 most powerful Pokemon come into my back pocket, and like it's like how many Pokemon do you have in a 6 and a
6 in a party,
right? So it was always my starter, it was always my Mudbray, and it was always my big mean panda.
Yeah.
And then like And then you go into my boxes, and like you can always tell like what the one or two that Joe chose for this particular gym matchup were, because like there's always like it's like one fairy type, very powerful, and it's like so you're getting ready for the dragon gym, huh? It's like it's like one fire type, very powerful. It's like, oh, ice gym, huh? It's like, yep. And I was like, I felt bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because that's the secret, right?
I mean, like I totally get that, though, because, like, I don't think I had my 6th Pokemon until I was at the gym challenge finale, where you fight Leon and all that, like, and that was Dragapult, which...
Well... Oh, yeah.
I mean, the thing about Dragapult is that he's broken AF, but I totally get that. Like, I always had like weird switch-ins for a while until I finally like sat on my team. But then I got like that legendary that was like 10 levels over like my party, and I was like, all right, I guess you're just a permanent attachment for now. And then I was like, I want to build my own like other team. So I built an entire team of Eevee evolutions. And
you had told me about this.
Yeah, and I was really excited to like push that, but the thing is I needed one more item to like fully like kit them out, and it was such a pain in the ass to get that I gave up, because I'm like, I've literally played and fought the Elite Four so many times, and I just need a Toxic Orb or I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind. And sure enough, I never got that Toxic Orb. So I'm thinking I might buy the DLC, because in the DLC there is a way to get a Toxic Orb without having to grind the championship battles till my eyes bleed.
I mean, fair enough. Yeah, I was thinking about getting the DLC as well. But yeah, so now my thing is, it's like, I think I'm just going to take a little bit of time for Challenger Joe.
Yeah.
And keep a couple of my favorite strong kids in the party, and then just be like, all right, I want a Unicorn Rapidash now, please.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you. Go back in the box now. All right. Now I want like, you know, there was like one that I had early on who I was like really like, he was my boy. Oh my god, like the Golem Pokemon.
Golem, yeah. Oh,
and like,
are you talking about the ghost rock dude, or are you actually talking about the Pokemon Golem?
I'm talking about the ghost rock dude.
Oh yeah, I don't remember his name, but he's a real rad dude.
Golurk, the automaton Pokemon.
But then like, as soon as I was done with like the whatever gym he was useful in, it was like, I feel so bad that I have to put you back in the box, my boy.
I know, it always is really sad.
But get in the box.
But
because I was never gonna put away my mud break, because Kickley is my bestest girl.
Yeah, so here's the thing I have to tell you.
Yes.
So are you familiar with the Pokemon Soul Silver and Heart Gold remakes?
I am not.
So they were Pokemon Gold and Silver remakes.
Yeah.
And they had one key feature that all of the other games didn't have. Which is that your Pokemon would hang out behind you outside of the Pokeball. So it would walk around with you. Guess what they brought in the DLC? You can hang out with your Pokemon outside of the Pokeballs. Yeah, we honestly, that's low-key why I wanted to get the expansion. But I also heard that the new legendary's fucking busted and tournament legal, which is nutty. So,
oh yeah,
yeah, like,
well,
it's like that little, it's this little like fighting like bear kind of guy, right? And he can evolve into 2 different versions depending on it's either the game cartridge you have or just like the, you know, what, I'm not sure the specifics, but it can evolve into a different Pokemon, and its evolution is busted because of its hidden ability and like a move it learns. I don't know. It's like, seeing it, I was like, damn, the fact that this is legal in tournaments is stupid and everyone's going to run it. But at the same time, it's like, but if everyone runs it, then people are probably just going to try to find like counter builds and make sure to always bring those. So either way,
your mileage may vary.
Yeah, your mileage may vary. Plus, like, there's a bunch of Pokemon came back. Brexit has kind of sort of released its little kind of blockade on some of the Pokemon. Some of them are coming back. Yeah. I really want to play it again, but I also need to like justify spending the money on it. So who knows? I might play it on a stream or something.
Hell yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So worldsmithing. So instead of being in other people's worlds, we're going to build our own.
Yeah.
And so last time we kind of briefly talked about the post-futurist moon base.
Yes.
And kind of the questions that, you know, kind of set the stage for our macro episode. And I'm going to let Joe take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel.
All right. All right. So, in the macro episode, this is when we kind of sort of establish sort of the themes of things. And sort of these bigger ideas that you will explore with your groups, with your parties and things like that. So when we were doing a 1920s fantasy version of Egypt, there was some pre-established stuff that we could work with. There were some pre-established trends that were going on in the world. There were some things that we could look at from ancient Egypt to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like their particular culture and belief systems and all of this various stuff. But as far as I'm aware, unless there's been some lies to me, or to us as like a collective society, there has never been a moon base, nor moon cities, nor things like that. So it's kind of, the fun thing about this is, it gives us a chance to kind of establish some macro level things that we can play around with in our micro and in our one shot. So I kind of volunteered to do a alternate timeline for our postmodern moon base, and then we kind of go from there. I think that it's important to do your own timelines when you're establishing a new thing like this, only because like it gives you a chance to, kind of jump back. Also a potentially fun thing you can do is like maybe find a copy of the game Microscope, and play a game of Microscope with your friends, and then kind of use that to build into your, so I kind of played a solo game of Microscope, if you will. Okay. So 1969, humans land on the moon on Apollo 11. Whereas this is going to be our starting point. So it is taking place in an alternate timeline, but we still landed on the moon in 1969. So it's not like we landed any earlier or things like that. Okay. So on April 13th, 1970, Apollo 13 successfully lands on the moon's surface. Captain Jim Lovell begins surveying work to establish parameters of a potential colonizing site. Anyone who remembers their history will know that Apollo 13 had some systems failures and that they were unable to land on the moon. And so in my mind's eye, Apollo 13's primary mission was to establish parameters for a moon base, but because it fucked up, people were starting to get a little bit cold feet on this. It's not actually historically accurate, but that's something I wanted to do for fun. Okay. So the MSC, or Moon Settlement Coalition, a private organization working in tandem with NASA, begins construction of SS-1, which stands for Settlement Shuttle 1, a fully autonomous spacecraft that can land and expand using solar radiation to create a single-family habitat. SS-1 would be expanded to have 2 rooms, kitchen, bathroom, and 0.5 acres of farmable land. initial project was mixed success. The solar energy did in fact expand to create this bubble habitat. The problem is that having the 0.5 acres of farmable land, there was no way to control it spreading out to become workable, usable farmland. Okay. On June 1st, 1970, Space Shuttlecraft 2 is successfully completed with an attachment known as Farm Settlement 1, a separate container that needs to be set up post-landing. Phase 1 of this is to send up 10 SSU units and 4 FS1 units, basically giving 1 full week for space expansion and setup. On July 4th, 1970, the first 10 families land on MB1, establishing New Cape Canaveral, the capital city of the moon. July 7th, 1970, or I'm sorry, did I say July 5th? 7th? July 5th, 1970. It doesn't matter, but I wanted it to be the next day. While exploring, Moonbase 1 discovers New Cape Canaveral discovers a nearby Soviet moon base. While there is initial hostilities, the two sides realize that they are stronger together. Both governments express their displeasure of the actions of the moon colony. This takes place over about a month, and they form an organization referred to as the United Alliance. Okay. Alrighty. August 6th, 1970. A joint coalition of Soviet and U.S. colonists began Space Trade Coalition. Became the space... actually, wait a second. Nope. I'll get back to it. But they establish a trading organization. It is a union that negotiates trading terms with Earth. While the Soviet and U.S. governments disavow this moon colony, the European nations begin a trade agreement. Okay. By August 6, 1971, MB1 scientists have created a new technology using resources found on the moon, including clean energy, quick trots, a mechanical set of legs expertly designed for the moon, but an advancement in paraplegic technology on Earth, and beam weaponry. These advancements make these initial families wealthy. Using the wealth, the scientists begin making SS-3 larger and more luxurious and start attracting Earth settlers. By 1981, the moon has become an autonomous country with 6 major cities and workable farmland. We start seeing some fracturing or going on there. And then in 2000, the STC has renamed themselves Moonway Enterprises and has become the most dominant trade company on Earth and the moon. Those who work for the company management have become very wealthy, the workers not so much. So in a bid to create equality, the United Laborers of Space Shipping, or ULSS, is formed, fighting for the right for those who work for the company. So now we're in the year 20XX. I leave that up to you guys.
Yes.
There has been an uncomfortable detente between these three factions, but things have been going all right. Each understands their role of preservation of moon life, but each tries to figure out ways to advance their own interests. Ooh, that was a mouthful.
That was. What a timeline. So beautiful, so crisp. Mwah.
Thank you. And then the other thing that I was tasked to create, and then I'll let Cody roll for a little bit, is the sort of government. So the government is controlled by the United Alliance. The United Alliance is a parliamentary style governmental system. So this is a single house legislative body with members based proportionally on population from the 6 major moon cities. This is run by a prime minister and a cabinet. Hold for laughter.
This is my favorite part. The moonister.
The prime minister. Okay, and then so one has to be a moon citizen for at least 5 years before you're given the right to vote. However, if you become a laborer and get the threshold of labor hours, the right to vote can be granted early. And this is a one person, one vote system. And then I have established 3 primary political parties for the United Alliance. You have Econ Strength. So this is a party that believes that a strong society is built on a strong government. While the STC while Moonway Enterprises is supposed to remain apolitical, it's well known that Econ Strength gives them more favorable policies. We have Farm Lib, which is a party that advocates for workers. The political party of the the United Laborers of Space Shipping. Over the years, it is suspected that there are plenty of members of the parliament who have fallen into the pocket of the STC. And then we have the New Earthers, who are a fringe party who don't like the way that the Moon Society has been built, and they want to build a society closer to that on Earth. Currently, Econostrength and the New Earthers have a coalition government working together, while FarmLib is able to stage work slowdowns. Econostrength is in charge, and STC Moonway Enterprises is gaining power. So there you go. That's the government, and that's the timeline.
Yeah.
What do you want to hit me with, my man?
All right.
Any questions for me?
Questions for you? Not yet. I think these are broad, sweeping things. We're setting the stage. Nothing seemed weird. I guess more of a clarification. This is obviously an alteration of time. It's a fun exercise, but yeah, none of this is, for a lack of a better term, like if you're like, whoa, where's this all coming from? Like, this is just like what our ideas of a moon base would be.
Out of our mind's eye.
Yeah. But with that being said, I was going to talk about a little more about the technology. We kind of briefly talked about it with some of the quote unquote the legs.
Yes.
But we have a couple of things here that will kind of pave the way to kind of what life looks like. So this will start to, like, these pieces of technology are super important for moon life.
Yes.
And will affect how players will interact with the world. And the first one, it doesn't have a name yet, but basically coming out of moon technology, we've got basically something akin to a Google Glass. The world is run on these visors. Everyone's lives fit over one eye and have the capabilities of a microcomputer or a modern day smartphone. There are varying degrees of this. For most people, it's, commercial. So you're getting your cell phone stuff. You can call people. You have access to the Moonernet and tons of apps created and developed by people transferred over by Moonway Enterprise to basically facilitate this item. But that's not to say there are other business / higher grade, protection spec'd goggleware in these. These things can be upgraded to have, infrared, night vision, different apps, things like, like almost like maps that ping people off of them based on sonar that's built into the goggles. These things can be, this item is basically how these people communicate and basically interact on a daily basis. And on a kind of mechanical level for, running this as a tabletop role-playing game, this thing is super upgradable, and people can spend their moon currency, if you will, to, augment their characters in ways that will be advantageous to them. That also being said, since bullets would basically be a death trap waiting to happen, the moon had to basically develop other ways to defend themselves. So often people are using something more akin to improvised weaponry, ship tools, blunt objects, etc. But there are, thanks to our Moonway Enterprise, we do have some short-ranged electric / beam weaponry that don't necessarily do any wear and tear on the infrastructure of a moon base, but would be able to incapacitate people if, threatened and whatnot. So, they had to think of new ways to do it. So these are kind of short, like low voltage battery tasers, or beam weaponry that are basically set to the lowest potential setting, if you will. You know, your stun, your phasers are set to stun, those kinds of things. And then traveling between sections should be easy, especially since there's 6 cities. I imagine they're in my brain space. They are just on the cusp of very like low-end gravity manipulation.
Yes.
There would be elevators that don't actually have floors and things. They would just go up or down manipulating gravity so that people can just walk into one of these elevators, float up to their, you know, designated area or the place they want to go, and get out with relative ease. And then, due to this kind of manipulation of gravity, we also see this in the modes of transportation. Obviously, like, cars on Earth are a bit cumbersome and too big for this area, but something more akin to the size of a golf cart with basically anti-gravity pads on the bottom that give them the ability to float almost effortlessly across the ground.
Nice.
There would still perhaps be, you know, like a tram system that could get from city to city using very big lines, but, you know, having these public service vehicles or construction vehicles that have, you know, anti-gravity manipulation is how people traverse through these, you know, large cities.
Very nice.
And then the conflict, right? So the big macro thing here is like, what are the players going to get into? And this is kind of broad strokes. This isn't anything concrete yet. We'll kind of get into the specifics of that maybe in the micro episode or even in the
first.
Yeah, that first one-shot kind of session 0 episode. But I think in this situation, there should be 2 conflicts happening simultaneously. We briefly mention it here, but there are rivaling political factions and just factions in general on our moon-based cities that at start, you know, just like feuding brothers or family members, nothing too serious. But when push comes to shove, you know, they might end up getting a little more they might be getting a little more violent or nasty when things get bad, because on top of having these rivaling factions kind of at each other's throats, there should be a greater threat that either needs the party's attention or needs the attention of the moon base at large. Something akin to like a meteor that might be, you know, potentially too big for the moon shields to deflect, or perhaps a space anomaly that threatens the space station as a whole, or our moon base. And with this, with these 2 things, you can do a lot of different things depending on our factions. We can kind of attach themes to the factions and have them at each other's, you know, fighting against each other, and the party can be aligned or not aligned with the different factions. There's a lot of different things, but ideally 2 things should be happening at the same time. One should be that kind of political rivaling factions between the different like alliances and different organizations of the moon base, but then also something greater happening. Maybe the connection to the farmlands has been severed, and now people are nervous and anxious that it'll take a long time for us to rebuild our way to the place where we get food every day. So now there's food shortages and all this stuff. And meanwhile, while it's happening, you know, maybe one of these political factions is using that as a deployable cover for their coup.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I brought to the table. I think those are super important to like the players at large. Like, yeah, we need all the rest of this stuff, because otherwise we don't have that that sweet, delicious like lore of the post-futurist moon base. But I took the not practical, but I took more like player facing, like what are they going to initially deal with approach. Sure. But yeah, that is what I brought to the table.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so will the party join?
Ooh.
Yeah, will they join the Unified Alliance? Or will they work with Moonway Enterprise?
Moonway Enterprise.
Yeah. There's all these things that can happen. And then, unless you have anything else, that's the end of our macro episode.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for me.
Yeah.
Hey Cody.
Yeah.
If people liked this episode and they want to learn more about us and what we do, where's the place that they can learn more about us and what we do?
Well, they can go to the Moonernet and go to our moon base at www.fandomroulette.com, where all of our episodes go live. As they do, they will be posted on our website. So, that's where you'll see new information. And if you scroll down to the bottom, there's a little form that you can fill out with basically anything. But for the point of this show, we would like to hear what you would like us to wordsmith, or how you felt about the formula or the format of this show. And underneath that are all of our social media links in case you want to check us out there.
Yeah. And hey Cody, if people like this episode and they want to find like another place where they can if they want to find more episodes to like listen to, or they want to tell a friend to listen to us, where are some places that people can find episodes of our podcast?
We are on iTunes and SoundCloud and Google Play and YouTube and all your RSS podcasting catchers. All you got to do is search Fandom Roulette.
And if people want to hit us up on the social medias to give us their thoughts or tell us other things, where's some places that they can do that?
Well, you can tweet at us your thoughts, comments, and suggestions at our Twitter at fandomr_podcast. Or if you want to interact with us on Facebook and Instagram in the same fashion, you can check us out there by searching Fandom Roulette.
Awesome. Also, please remember to like, rate, review, subscribe, hit the bell, ring it, everything, tell a friend, say nice things about us. Move us up those ladders.
Yeah,
man, that was a messy descent. But yeah, hey, I think that's gonna be it for us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. Thank you. Signing off for Fan Roulette. This is Joe,
and I'm Cody.
And as always, stay nerdy.
Stay super nerdy.